they set the minimum price for me, so I started charging $200 per performance. So, and for me, that at that
this
time,
is in 90.
yeah, from well, no, this is from 1995. So because I was in Chicago 95, from August 95, so started telling much more in 96. So then I was send at least a minimum of $200 to my mom every month.
Wow.
which was almost, yeah, slightly over 2,000
Yeah,
pula.
like 3,000.
So yeah, so no, but so the pula was much stronger then.
You know what? That's a topic for a different.
No, yeah, in 1980, around 1980, I think almost pula was almost equal to $1. So, but yeah, that's a topic for another day. So, yeah, so then I learned earlier on, I say, what sell is not what is fashionable, but
fresh out BOTSWANA, but dressed like I'm straight out of Compton. I flip the money, but I never studied accounting.
It's been a dramatic athletics world championship so far, but this perhaps ranks as the most surreal moment. Isaac Mackweiler running at 200 metres heat.
I got all my problems in a swish. Maintain, try keep it honest.
I mean, you literally took a trip.
yeah, I took a trip from here, got on a bus, booked a hotel room there, looked for the music.
You know what's the most weird thing about being a creative?
Yeah.
How do you explain that to someone? Because I understand what you mean, and I understand the importance of it, or the sentimental value of you doing that, and what D'Angelo meant to you at that time.
Yeah.
So how do you explain your creative side to somebody who is not a creative?
It's an appreciation exercise and spirituality. You know, as people, we are emotive beings. So the reason why men's clothes are more expensive than women's clothes is because men don't.
By the way, I didn't know that.
Yeah, men don't buy a lot. So children and women, they tend to have that emotional
Attachment.
yes, and then not all women. I'm generalizing.
Of course.
So, but that's why the men's clothes are more expensive, and because of that, when somebody has, for me, when music, books, films, it's an emotional thing. I gravitate towards that, like other people
Like someone would buy
towards
a car.
fashion. Yes, like somebody will buy a car. So when I get into the bookstore, I love the smell of the books.
Pages.
And how they say don't judge the book by its cover. I judge the book by its cover. So when somebody puts effort into creating whatever piece of work they've done, like D'Angelo takes time to work on his music, how to record his music, plays each and every instrument, study each and every instrument.
So that's why you keep saying Prince.
Yes, because he studied Prince. That's what Prince did. Yeah, he studied Prince. So that's what Prince did. So when somebody go through that processes, if you want somebody to appreciate your work, you must also be a fan of artists. You know, you can't just want your work to be. It has to start somewhere, and then those people can become inspire you to also create. I mean, even when you, and it starts at home. You know, my first person to really inspire me.
Artistically, you mean?
Yes.
Or creative?
Both. It's my mom. Okay. So she's an amazing storyteller. So the folk tales, you know. And then when sometimes the stories don't have songs. My mother will just make songs. I remember there's one that I put in the film album that I've done. There was a story that called Mashankote, the story of a young head boy who had to take care of the family goats, and the fox, Mr. Fox, wanted to.
This is a story.
It's a story, yes.
Is it real?
No, it's not real. It's a folk tale, and Mr. Fox wanted to eat the goats. Of course, these stories, they teach us about life, about things that are happening. And so, as my mom was telling the story, she felt it needed a song. And the song went something like,
she's creating this song.
Yes. And when I listened to it, it's very poetic, and it's the traditional song, it's hip hop.
What year, in terms of timeline, what year would you say this?
It was in the early 80s. In the early 80s. And so some of those things I later used them in my own film. Beautiful. And also use it in my poetry album, because then I added my own words, so I had to credit my mom as the primary writer, and I become the secondary.
You know what
writer.
this reminds me of?
Yeah.
Have you watched the Donda documentary?
Oh yeah, yes, bits of it. I watched the full one. That was the trilogy that was done on him, and that relationship with the mom, of course, is quite big there. So the Donda, the making of the Donda, I've seen part of it, not the whole of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I want you to do?
No.
I want you to paint me a picture of a young MOABI at the age of 23. 23.
At 23, I just came from the US as a student. I had written, based on the inspiration from my mom, I've taken some of the folk tales that I was told. It's part of my DNA when I was a kid, so I adapted them into a movie. So the thing that I want to do, I want to say, okay, there are certain way Hollywood films are made, and I said I'm going to study there. I studied both in Chicago and in Hollywood, so but I had to be different. I said, how can I be different? I said, okay,
separate yourself.
Yes, let me base it on something that is authentic to who I am and authentic to where I come from. And the folk tales with where the hero was like Mutla the rabbit. So, but of course, I'm reimagining this folk tale. So Mutla becomes this young gardener, and I made the gardener. I chose that because I work as a gardener before I went to school. So I personalized the story. It was a fictional story, but it was about me. And it was set long time ago, but it was about me. And so at 23 years old, I came back to Botswana to make this film, which was said to be the first major film in Botswana. So
what year was this?
98.
98. This was the shooting of the movie.
The shooting of the movie, of the movie Hot Chili.
Yes, and the premiere was? The
premiere was, I did 2 screenings. The first screening was actually in 2003 at the Grand Palm Cinema. It was the last movie shown there. The cinema closed after that. And then I did, as a youngster, I was much more, I wouldn't say much more, I was much more aggressive in terms of how I market my film. The launch in 2003 was quite huge. It was sold out. There were some screenings after that, but I said, no, I need something bigger. Then I did this presidential screening. So I invited President Mogae to come and officiate the movie. So it was huge. We designed some, at that time I hired the biggest agency, which was Horizon. So we made a huge, I think they said Afro.
You know, when you tell me about yourself, I'm always impressed about the work you've done in the past, but I'm trying to figure out why you are so humble. You just mentioned inviting President Mogai, like, yeah, you're talking about your friend. If it was me, my friends wouldn't hear the end of me inviting the president to an event that I've done.
Yeah.
You know, how are you able to stay grounded and not have an episode like the Kanye West may have, or any other.
But I love Kanye West.
I keep saying Kanye West, and I keep saying Kanye West because I know
okay, it's okay.
I don't even have to ask. I can hear the story.
Yeah.
You know, your story matches so much to him.
Yeah.
Even just living in Chicago for some time shows that obviously some way, somehow you cross paths with that process of artist development or creative development.
Yeah. Well, the humility, you have to look at I think as Botswana, if you look, I study a lot of our history and we look at I did a certain commercial where I had a king, Khosi. I don't use chiefs because chiefs is not part of us. It's Khosi or king. So one of the kings and or Khosi, and people felt the Khosi didn't look like a Khosi and say, what do you mean? Because they've seen kings in movies where they are sort of like everybody has to bow to them and things like that. I say, no, but if you really look at our culture, yes, of course, there's also the abuse of culture. I'm not denying that, but you'll find that they humble themselves as the subject of the people. So if people like that, they can be very humble, then who am I? And then look at some of the people that I've interviewed in the past, president like Masire and many others.
We'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Yes, but I've met a lot of people who are extremely humble, and basically also how I've raised. I don't know how else to be, but to be that way, it's natural.
All right. Let me introduce myself to you so that you understand exactly why you are here.
Okay.
My name is Katlego Makadi, but in street name would be Kizzle. You know, I don't want to say that.
Why Kizzle?
I was an artist at some point.
Still an artist.
I was an artist. I was a rapper. Type of thing.
Oh, okay.
I was heavily inspired. I'll never forget. When I was young, I never got to watch cartoons.
Yeah.
This is when DSTV just came out.
Okay.
My aunt just got a job. DSTV, I thought I was going to watch Cartoon Network and all that, but things changed when my cousins got home. I had 2 cousins I lived with. When they got home, it was MTV. MTV 24 hours. And I'll never forget the first time I saw Busta Rhymes.
Oh, fire.
Chris.
Fire.
Missy Elliott.
Fire.
And how everybody was so intrigued by the way they created and expressed themselves. And I knew I want to be in the TV.
To be that,
I want to be in the TV.
All right,
so
that's good.
Fast forward, I am in about, I think, grade 8, Form 1. I find a studio in Block 7. I start recording. Obviously, the music was not that good. Fast forward, 2011. My favorite artist at the time was Lil Wayne. And I got a chance to go watch a Lil Wayne concert at the Dome.
Oh, that's good.
I'll post the picture. You guys will get to see the picture. I was so close to the stage. I swear. I spoke to him at some point. Yeah. And he spoke back to me.
Okay, that's amazing.
This fueled what was there in the beginning. The fact that I saw this Young Money crew and I was able to be that close. I decided I'm really going to go into this music thing. Fast forward. I'm doing music for about 3 years. I get signed by a local, co-signed, I'd rather say, a local label called Funds Boys. It was ran by a guy called VS Cufflinks.
Okay.
One day in the studio, you know, definitely VS we check.
Yes, we check.
He had this group called Funds Boys. There was the older guys who would rap, and the music videos on Channel O and all that. And there was the younger guys. It's me, Big Star, 05, Slim Cash was the producer.
Yeah.
And one day, Scar walks in. One night, Scar walks in.
Yeah.
Staga.
Wow.
Dollar Mac.
Bigger hit.
Miss B.
Oh, wow.
And VS was there, of course.
Okay.
So we're just playing around in the studio.
Yeah.
We get on this beat, we all record, and I do my verse.
Yeah.
I killed that verse so bad.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was my chance.
Yeah.
And Scar pulled me to the side and said, "Boy, Papa, you are the biggest, you're the next big thing."
Oh, that's good coming from Scar.
And all he said was, "Just say it like you mean it." Fast forward, I get home, the whole family's at the table, and I get to tell them, "Hey, so guys, I'm a big deal in the music industry. I was in the studio last night with Scar. He's a Channel Award winning.
Yeah.
He was a judge on Idols.
Yeah.
He said I'm the best big thing. I'm the next big thing. So I'm not going to school, guys. I'm not going to university."
How did that come to what did your parents say?
Worst decision of my life. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. And I was so crushed. My music career ended right there. It lasted for about a year.
Yeah.
So my retaliation to all this, in 2016, I started a podcast where I decided I'm going to interview the artists. So if I cannot be the artist, so I'm going to interview the artists. My first interview was with Faded Gang, which was this rap crew.
Yeah.
And the other one was with Capo Solomon, who's Casper Nyove's best friend.
Okay.
Right. And fast forward to today, 2023. And I'm sitting here with you. And my reason for sitting here with you is I've realized that we are heavily influenced by the Western culture.
Yeah.
And I've studied music and local musicians so much, every single musician.
Yeah.
And the music and the sound.
Yeah.
And if you Google right now, Google the most unique type of music in the world, Botswana comes up. And Botswana comes up. It comes up in a way, in a way that this article talks about the stomping of the feet, the clapping, the chanting, the folk music.
Yeah.
And I have this idea of commercializing locally produced music to a point where we can sell, it could be sellable to the world.
That's the best way to do it.
And you having lived in Chicago, I think you're the best person to try explain to us what was the living experience there. Because what I'm trying to do is to make young Motswana or old Motswana realize that we're so influenced by the West.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, we are the ones who are educated. In actual fact, starting a business here is easier than there. We have advantages as well.
Yeah.
So I want you to give me a picture or a comparison between you in Chicago and Hollywood and you being in Gaborone.
Okay. First of all, just to commend you first on the staying true to your calling. You will always be an artist, whether you are the one doing the music or promoting the musician or talking to the other artists. You are always involved, and it's in you. So, when I went to Chicago, the things is that each time whenever we my school was really downtown Chicago. It's Columbia College, Chicago. we are downtown next to the Art Institute. So there are a lot of artists. So every day we go, there will be youngsters, you know, my age at that time, 19, 20.
Artists, you mean musicians?
Yes, but some of them students, some of them are real big time musicians. So they were doing what you call the ciphers. So they were just there,
freestyling,
yes,
type of thing.
battling it up. And I was always there watching this, and they were really, really, really good. I was like, you guys should record. Some of them, they were laughing at me. It's like, no, it's really tough. And I said, you know what? If this is this people's culture, even the ones who are this good, they don't have recording deal. I must look at who I am and be in touch with my authentic voice. I said, I'm not going to do what they're doing. I love it and they're good at it. So
exactly.
what I did, I went and made a bit outside school. I made a bit of a living, additional money that I could also help at home by telling stories, folk tales. And so at first I was telling them for free, and I was very good at it. So some of the professional storytellers in the States, they came and watched some of my performances. And so they asked how much I was.
So wait, you would tell these stories in Setswana?
No, in English. In
okay.
English, and then, but the songs in between will be in Setswana.
Oh, okay.
Because
I'm trying to understand if they could understand
No.
the story and the concept.
Yeah, I was telling them in Setswana. They were pure Setswana stories, but I was telling them in English so that they can understand. And but all the songs were in Setswana, and but they could follow. So they said, "How much are you charging?" I said, "I'm performing for free." They said, "No." So they set the minimum price for me, so I started charging $200 per performance. So, and for me, that at that
this
time,
is in 90.
Yeah, from no, this is from 1995. So because I was in Chicago 95, from August 95, so started telling much more in 96. So then I was send at least a minimum of $200 to my mom every month, which was almost slightly over 2,000 pula.
3,000.
So no, but the pula was much stronger then.
You know what? That's a topic for a different.
No, in 1980, around 1980, I think almost pula was almost equal to $1. So, but that's a topic for another day. So, so then I learned earlier on, I say, what sell is not what is fashionable, but what is authentic to the person expressing themselves. Are you true to yourself? When God tell you, say, do it like you mean it. Mean what you are saying. Like if I start maybe singing in a car with rapping the way maybe Kanye West would do. Kanye West is true to himself. I'm not true to myself. But if I go to my folk tale style or traditional, then they can because I have a different voice and I understand that voice. So that's all our responsibility to be authentic.
You know, this is the thing. There's a lot of stigma towards creatives. And I think it's because people who are in the corporate space do not understand the correlation between taking a career that is entertainment related. So this is what my opinion is.
Yeah.
We are in a situation where we have the unemployment rate is an all-time high.
Yes.
We do not really know what our future holds.
Yes.
The one industry that has not been monopolized is the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
You know, so how the entertainment industry could create employment. I'll give an example. If my objective works, I get an artist, I get a producer, we fuse traditional sounds with a commercial sound, which is the hip hop, R&B, or Amapiano, or Afro tech.
Yeah.
We fuse these. We get an artist, a local artist like Chamagel and Ozzy F. Teddy, or an ATI or Balatrava Blanco on these songs. And they just so happen to make it internationally. This means that these people are not only selling our culture in terms of sound, but they're selling our culture in terms of attire. This would then mean the fashion designer has a market. Not just a market which is local, considering the fact that we're a small population, but now we have access to a bigger market. Let's just say Southern Africa, for example. Right. Another part of this would mean the textile industry, which has been shut down for I don't know how long. Nobody has ever asked, so there's these cows in BMC, what happened to the leather? This could have created a different avenue for the textile industry, which would then eventually solve a part of the unemployment situation. I could duplicate this template on so many different ways to events bringing in direct foreign investment, bringing events being hosted in our Okavango region, bringing in tourism, boosting the economy in that way.
What you're talking
about? What's your opinion?
No, it's something that I subscribe to. I believe in that. What you're talking about is an industry. So once you create an industry, then everything works, because now if you are self-employed, you are just focusing on what am I going to bring in for today, but it's not sustainable. But when you build an industry, like when I tell people the film industry in Botswana is not yet there, because when it's an industry, then it affects all sectors. So so what we are talking about, they started I think Ramahang and Patrick Balopi in the 70s, when you're talking about leather, the cow, they started a tannery where they were taking those things they wanted to, but it was shut down. So they went into other things. So what
I guess you wouldn't know why.
Well, there's some speculation, but they were talking about beneficiation. I think Ramahang was instrumental in talking about beneficiation of everything. So when you talk about beneficiation, you're talking about what you do with our cow skins. Then that's where they open a tannery, because now we are the biggest beef producing nation in the whole world. What we do with our skin, we waste it. So it's talking about beneficiation, not only of diamonds, beneficiation of that.
This is diversifying the economy.
Beneficiation of diamonds, beneficiation. A lot of jobs. We are a small population and we are a middle income economy. We are just hovering around 3 million. There's absolutely no need for the amount of suffering, especially amongst the youth, that is going on right now. So, and because when you talk about in the music industry, what you're talking about, we take that platform, because majority of the time we are thinking of show, not business. So what you're talking about show business, and that is the thing that as artists we should understand. So it means that you are thinking not only as an artist, you are thinking as an entrepreneur. Because as an entrepreneur, you have to look at everything. You have to look at, regardless of what I think of people, since you're into hip hop and everything, like people like Master P. Some people may not like his music the way he did it, but he's an entrepreneur.
Master P
he's an entrepreneur. He's
Romeo's father.
He's looking at it that way. So you are thinking along those lines. So for an industry to take off, one needs to think like you and think of it in
how it affects the other.
Even
something like food could be affected, and which would then eventually fall down to farming.
But going back to sound, what you're talking about, it's not about basically it's something that has to be done, because what you're talking about is about what is authentic from who you are. Even the movies that I did, that's the sound
Exactly.
that I went to.
You did not duplicate what Hollywood did. You took some of the qualities, I guess,
Yeah.
but you incorporated the songs in Setswana.
Yeah.
So this is the problem that we're having. We will have a musician try to recreate an American sound, which I do not blame them.
Yeah.
The West is heavy on the influence.
No, of course. No, I mean, I remember when I was in the US, I talked to Brando, Bad Boy Brando. Yes, he came and I said, Brando, you sing really well.
Yeah.
But the style.
By the way, he was one of the people in the studio.
Yes,
when
yes.
Scar said I'm the best.
Yes,
Brando was there.
yes. I say your style right now is more leaning towards R. Kelly.
Yes.
And you sing well, but I believe you should lead. That's my opinion. I think you really kill it if you go the Paranyani way.
That's when he started singing.
That's right. I said
because there was a change. We did notice a change.
No, but the change came a lot later. Remember, they were very young.
No, he was very westernized.
Yeah,
he was very westernized, and we did see him now.
But
start
because he's mature now. He's mature now. So, but those are the conversations that we were having.
So you were with Brando in the States, you mean?
No. He was not in the States. He came. He was sent to the States by Proctor. The uncle to the Proctor you are thinking about.
I'm not thinking.
Mike Proctor. He was.
I
apologize.
No, I'm not thinking about any Proctor.
No. But Mike Proctor, the older, they were. And they were promoting him. So they wanted a music to shoot a music video in Chicago. So one of my schoolmates shot it for them, but it was never released. So that's when I talked to them. They were there for a while. So he joined. He actually went to the Cypher to try his thing, but it was more of that culture. So it was then. But even then, as a youngster, I was just telling you, no. This local authentic music that if you look at it, it'll work much better. Not saying that because if you look at certain people who are doing rap like Ska, they're very good at it. Cashless Society, they're very good at it. And many others. Yeah. But also to fuse it to do something also that like.
This is the thing. Let me not point a finger at the artist.
Anyone, yeah.
The problem is the production.
Thing.
No, I will be detailed.
Yeah.
I will get into who exactly, where the problem I'm seeing.
Yeah.
The problem is the producer. I don't know. My second episode after this I will have an artist manager, a producer, who will then try to explain to me our producers. What's missing? Why are they? Because you will walk in a studio, you will find a beat playing. Not at any point as an artist have I ever said, so why are we recreating a trap beat? Yeah,
but really, I wouldn't really blame the producers per se. I will say also sometimes the producers is the artist sometimes who demand certain things, because I know that certain producers, like I'll think of B-Note, I'll think of even record owners. I mean, if you look at people like Eric Ramco, they were exploring the local sound.
Yeah, Press Beats is someone I really need to have on, because he did justice to that.
And the Press Beat. And actually, Press Beat in 2005, I was giving an award for the best music video, and it went to Cashless Society. And when people were getting on stage, I was a little bit, it's a little bit not alive. So I went on with a chant, and I presented before I gave them. I went into a stage with a chant.
Yeah.
And when I got off stage, Press Beats came to me. It's like, hey, man, we need to go and record
Exactly.
that.
And I guess he's been trying to do it.
Yes,
Nobody's
yes.
trying
And
to-
I refused. But when I was shooting this music video,
you shot
so
that.
yes, so we during the break, he said, no, come. He said, I went into the studio. He forced me to put on the
record. Yeah, to record.
yes, and then he played the track. And for 5 minutes, I did the chant that I did. And that chant, it went into the album of the collective of the Eric Ramco Records. And the thing that I did became Song of the Week twice on RB2 and RB1.
Yeah.
And so I remember one day, one of Sly, when I was being interviewed about my movie, and said, "So when is the album coming out?" I said, "No, I'm not a musician. I'm not that thing. I just did it for Press Beats."
Press Beats.
Yeah.
No, there's someone I definitely need to sit down with, because
he's been pushing that.
He's pushing that, but I feel like this is what you need to pay attention to. When these guys get on Amapiano, for example, they all do it. It's not somebody doing Amapiano and then someone else is making hip hop. Even the hip hop guys stop doing hip hop to focus on this. When you go to the West Africa, they say Afrobeats. They are all doing that.
Yeah.
That way the sound gets to evolve and grow.
Yeah.
So my point of view is us fusing our traditional folk music and really being intentional about it. Really, every single artist should be on a beat that has that stomp, that clap, that whistle, and all the traditional guitars.
Yeah.
It's something that I want to implement, and like I said, it may not be a literal objective, but it's rather a proposal.
No, look, but here's the thing. My take on that is that that's your thing, and I believe it's going to work, and you should push it. But others can
The
do.
Grammy Academy has introduced the
Yes,
West African.
but with or without the Grammys,
We want the Grammy.
But without it, you guys will get it, and you should have that ambition. But what I'm saying is that this is your thing, what you are thinking, and you should really push it. And obviously there are others who are doing that. I know for sure, like Press Beat is on that tip also. I know that B Note is onto that also, and many others that I may not know. But the thing is that if you feel strongly about that, go for it, and I believe you will achieve whatever goals that
The Grammy.
that yes, you will achieve whatever. I mean, look, as we grow, I think at one point also I was thinking of certain awards, but I stopped caring after a while. But
I want to know why.
Because it's not that when they come I'll be happy. That is, and then I'll sound like a hypocrite. I'll be happy, but the thing is that I don't want anything that will interfere with my creative processes. Because sometimes when you are saying, I want this, and it doesn't come, it might take you off. But it's okay. If it's okay,
you know what
to
I thought
aim
you were
there.
going to say?
No.
I thought you were going to say you really wanted to go for an Oscar, but you realized that there are certain things that have to be done in order to reach certain levels of success. I don't know how true this is. You were in Chicago.
Yeah.
You can tell us, what's this thing about the Illuminati, the cult, that? Is this a real thing?
No, I don't know. Look, it's people's beliefs. What you have to understand, the awards are very subjective. So right now there are different movements. So that's why for me I really can't focus on the awards, because for quite a long time Black Hollywood, there are a lot of talented blacks that were were excluded, and a lot of films with leading people who are of color, black, they were not done because they believed that they would not make money. But with time, a lot of black creatives have proven them otherwise. And even the awards started changing. It used to be only few. You started with people like Sidney Poitier being the ones who are winning, and then later on your Denzel Washington. But right now,
Will Smith.
Will Smith much later. But right now, they're being pushed because, you know, like Black Panther went over $1 billion at the first one, even the second one. So they're seeing that that was just a theory. So, but now even the awards, they keep changing. There were movements like Oscar So White and things like that. So you never quite understand what the agenda is. That's why I'm saying, like, look, one of the best rappers, MCs in the world is Nas. He just got his first Grammy just recently.
He didn't have one before.
No! No, I can't go. No. But, so that's why you can't
exactly, but this is where, but pay attention to what you just said.
Yeah.
The same conspiracy theories that we get. Wait, are you saying we should just brush it off?
No. Because I'm saying I'm not. I'm talking about myself. I say people can go and really go into these deep conspiracy theories. Probably that true. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to an artist developing their work. If you look at if we go to the West again, we'll have to come back home. If we go to the West again, Nas has been doing it quite for a long time, but he just got his Grammy, first one. And if you look at even his first album, you know, they were comparing him to Shakespeare in the hip hop world, and they're saying, you know, and there's no need to compare him to anyone. He's but you look at this youngster, his first album, you look at the producer he attracted. All the best hip hop producers, they were there in his first album because they believe in him that much. That album itself should have won so many Grammys, but it didn't. But it meant a lot to the culture.
This is why I'm asking you. There's another reason why, a social point of view, to me, saying we need to create our own thing.
Yeah,
because
that I believe.
The West is moving different now. A lot of things are coming out. There is this UFOs are popping out of somewhere, but suddenly you're trying to figure out, so do UFOs only go to the States? So why would an extraterrestrial go to the States? If anything, they would go to the Congo. There are minerals there. Or you would, I don't know, the media, we don't even know what's going on. So I think it's safe not to consume so much content from the West for now, just to, until we understand what we're watching. Because now we don't know what our kids are being influenced. We don't know. We have no idea what's going on.
But here's the thing. For me is that it doesn't matter even if one consume media from. The thing is that all the time we should be true to ourselves. We should be promoting our own sounds. We should be promoting our own films. We should be. They say each village has its own prophets. We are one of the few people who always gravitate towards, you know, I'm going to be nothing against religion. I'm going to be the best Christian. I'm going to be the best Muslim. I'm going to be the best this, the best this. But majority of the time we are talking about those things without really looking at, but what is it that we have? Yeah. So it should be right now. Even in Hollywood, they're recreating a lot of, they're running out of content, recreating a lot of things. Exactly. So our story should be told, and it should be told by us. Yeah. But then we have this tendency to want somebody to tell us who we are. But
yes, and this is actually
somebody cannot tell you who you are.
No. But you know what I think. You know what I think.
Yeah.
That is a true statement. But when you are in a climate where there's so much content
Yeah.
coming in, this is the information era.
Yeah.
If I go on my phone or my computer, immediately I'm getting information.
Yeah.
But guess what? That information is not from here.
Yeah.
It's not about here. It's not about where I am. It's not about who I am.
This
is one of the actual.
It's sent by we call them thought controllers.
Exactly. I don't know what that means, but I will try to. I will add it up as the media, the West.
Yeah.
And what they are. We don't even know the agenda anymore because there is so much news coming in. So this is the part of the reason why I have you here, is for you to try to give us a picture of who we are before we can try to create the music and tell these stories. I think you are more fortunate because of the ability to tell your stories is in your DNA. You are fortunate. But I'm guessing at this moment right now, there's a child or kid born in the 2000s who has no idea where they are, who they are.
Yeah, the things that we should all be, somebody help me, and somebody is continue to, my parents and others and my community, I'm continue to be nurtured, and I look for that also from other people. So like when I was younger, I was looking at the writers who had a very strong, authentic voice. For me, it was one of the writers was L.D. Radicadi, who wrote highly poetic plays in really deep Setswana. And there's also the gentleman who I was named after, a poet called MOABI. I was looking at his poetry and other things. All of us is to be inspired. So it's all our responsibility. Right now, you yourself, you're going to influence others to really look at the understanding the media and this. So it's your responsibility to now impart the knowledge that you have, and so all of us collectively, and in terms of ranking, there's no one higher and there's no one lower. It is just that we have to do our best wherever we are to share whatever that is authentic, and to say, okay, this is who I am and I want to tell my story. Like there's something deeper within yourself to say, no, but the sound, it's a calling that is speaking to you. So you have to follow it. It keeps you awake at night. It keeps you busy during the day. So the only way to really truly be happy with yourself is to surrender to that calling and do it, and don't force others to do it. Just do it, and then they will follow through. And they'll follow through.
It's funny for me to finally decide to do this. You know, the last words of encouragement that I gave myself were, give up. Not give up in the sense of stop, but give up as in stop trying to fight it.
Yeah.
The creative side of you.
Yeah.
This story I told about me being in the studio, all my friends do not know it.
Yeah.
I kept it a secret.
Yeah.
They do not know that if I were to decide to do music, I would do it like it has never done before. But I won't, because I know my place. This is my place. My place is to be in the background, and there are kids who can, there's a 15-year-old somewhere, somehow, who can come in and be directed.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how you move. But another thing that we have, when you ask someone who inspires you, I said what led me to here was seeing Lil Wayne live.
Yeah.
But I think it's wrong. I should have been someone local. And for me, it's Dignash.
Yeah.
I remember the first time within me growing up with my cousins, first time we are not watching TV, they bring the CD, they put it in the player, and it's a an album, but it's a comedy skit of Dignash prank calling people.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so you can do this?
Of course. Yeah.
This is where this is how this is part of that development.
Yeah.
You know, I sat down and I listened to that thing every day.
Yeah.
And I imitated those voices, every single thing.
And he's
but
very good.
what I was impressed by was, so you saw it on TV. So Dignash saw it on TV and went and recorded it and put it out.
Yeah.
And he actually thought people are going to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one of my biggest inspirations. That decision was a great one. And this is why in 2016, when nobody was doing podcasting, I decided to take the initiative.
Yeah.
But now I want to try to bring light to certain individuals who we should look up to. The only thing we have now is tender boys.
Yeah.
And somebody who's driving a big car.
Yeah.
So and so is dating so and so and such and such.
Yeah.
But you spending time with the Mahang family. And what picture would you give us of Mahang, David Mahang, and you being in that setup to create the documentary?
Well, at first I had no interest, zero interest in the. I had zero interest in the family and this. I just saw them as these rich people, so I didn't care until a friend of mine read the book "The Magic of Perseverance."
This is a book by
David Mahang. Okay. He wrote it. It's a huge, it's a 600-page book. It's so huge. It's like at that time I was doing something in essay. I was working. I was working on working on my documentary of Number One Lady Detective Agency. It's like, hey man, you must read this book. Forget about the cover. The cover is not that nice, but the content. First, we have one of the guys from the ruling party writing a book and calling a spade a spade. This book is very good. So I read that book. And when I look at the opening of the book, Boyhood from Queening, his childhood, I was like, oh my God, this guy has a similar childhood as mine. And I was like, so I stopped seeing him as this rich person.
And now you got to see the background.
Yes.
You see, this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Understanding the character and an individual from the real story.
Yes. I stopped seeing this rich person from Pakala and I started seeing the person. And I love how he wrote that book, and I loved also how he painted the culture, because I've been studying. I had done a documentary on Sechele, who's the modern. They say the modern the father. Sechele the first, the father of the modern Botswana. So how he wrote about him, it was not just historical facts. He wrote about him. Me judging Ramachang, he wrote about him as this visionary who played the role of his own father, because he never knew his own father. Me interpreting the text, he never said that. Me interpreting the text. And because I had done the documentary on Sechele, so I went to him and I showed him my documentary and I said, I'm going to do the second version of Sechele, the documentary plus the movie, which will be epic. And then he saw the documentary and then he asked me to do his because there was somebody assigned first to do his own documentary, and I said no, I refused, because there was somebody also. So after some months, the back and forth, he said no, I fired that person because he has not read the book. You had read the book. At that time I read the book twice. And so when I finally agreed to do his documentary, I read the book now for the third time, now making notes on the book. And then that's how I got to understand him. So by the entry for me was the book. And I felt...
what would you say you picked special about him, though, as an entrepreneur?
He was somebody who was already from, as a young boy in extremely poor in Molepuli. He had always had this strong belief about himself, and he had this very strong work ethic. He worked as the head boy, and he went to when he was here, he went to South Africa. He worked, he cleaned people's yards.
So he got
he started
a foundation.
He worked throughout when he was a kid.
So where does the Pakalani story come in? Because all we hear is
the Pakalani story came when he finally went to varsity. He went to university in the UK. He befriended a developer
here locally.
No, in the UK, and he saw how they developed, and so that seed was planted. So when he came as a youngster, so he talked to that gentleman to say, can you fund my girlfriend to come and study here, because I want her to share my vision with me. I want to marry her. So that's why, and that's his wife, Medokas Mahang. So eventually she was sponsored to go and study, of all things, she studied fashion. In the she studied fashion, and so this vision of Pakalani, they had it as young stars, and so it took so many years when they came here for people to understand it, because then what they did, they started wanting to get land first. So the first area land they wanted to buy was, which now is Gaborone West, from CBD to, it was part of the Bonington farm, from where CBD is. At that time it was called Cotton Field. There was nothing from there to where you see Gaborone West.
So that's why the mall is called Fields.
Probably.
Okay.
And they put the cotton, and then they see there's fields. It's cotton fields. and it extended to where our Grand Palm is. And so at that time the owner of the land wanted around 300,000 from him, but 300,000 was a lot of money, so no bank could fund him. So then he encouraged the government to say the city is growing, buy this land, but the government did not. But later on they wanted to build this road from here to Molepolole. And so when they tried to buy that land, now the land was over $1 million. So government wanted to take the owners of the land to court. But it's a long story. So government end up spending, instead of spending 300,000, they end up spending 1.8 million. Had they listened to Ramachang, they would have spent less. Later on, he wanted to buy the Broadest farm, where now is Broadest. And it didn't work. He didn't get the money. And so once again, he advised government to do the same. They did not. But later on, there's a certain, some of the colonial people who are still here. He said, no, but your proposal is good. So this colonial guy, one of the colonial in the office, they took Mr. Mahang's proposal and changed only the signature and gave it to government. Same word to word, everything the way. And when they saw it, they said, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. And then they did that because the white man said it, that it was Mr. Mahang. It's just the white man put his signature in it.
So then they get which land?
Broadest. And then one day, then they bought, how they bought I forgot the name, the Pakalani farm, is that the owner, another white family, the man was alone, and he wanted to retire, so he wanted to sell the land. At that time, he wanted to sell the land to the Khama, the first president of Botswana, but the Khama family had just gotten Rurezi. And so then Tsekedi told Tsekedi Khama,
the brother,
Brahma, to the former president, told Ramachang about it, and sort of Ramachang went and bought Pakalani.
Which year was this timeline in terms of time?
It's in the 70s. Yeah, and so it took them a long time now to turn it. They ran it for more than 10 years as a farm, wanting to now develop it into a township. It took long to convince government, a very long time, but eventually they did. So that's how it's that.
Find another individual. Say Kitumile Masire. One, just 2 points that can give a young person today in 2023 motivation to know that they are powerful as well, they are smart and good enough to accomplish?
For me, is the best president Botswana has ever had.
Definitely.
Who from humble beginnings and others managed to, as part of the development of the country, to include everyone. There's a lot of division right now, but I think at that time a lot of second generation of Botswana were taken to, of the educated Botswana, were taken to study in the best university around the world. So they invested a lot in, not only in agriculture, but in education. The only problem is that a majority of those, when they came back with their degrees, their master degrees and PhD, the system did not really utilize that. So then you have a lot of frustrated, educated people.
So this is not happening for the first
Oh
time.
no.
Okay, this is why we're having this conversation.
It's a disease.
So it's not a new thing.
No. It's an
Okay.
old, annoying thing that
Why
we should
would
call.
you say is the reason?
It's a small country mentality, whereby we know each other. So I said, "Ow, ke na la katleho 5 million hela katleho hela makatinyana hela," and then I'm jealous, and then I'd rather give it to somebody else that I don't know. But that person will take that money, develop, and go. So it's jealousy. It's
So we've been jealous because I watched the Scar podcast. He has a podcast, and he had Eric Ramko as a guest. And Eric Ramko said, you know, the reason why the Afrobeats and the Amapiano is able to grow is because these guys play their music.
Yeah.
They go to places and they carry their music and
Yeah.
they play it there. So I figure we have a mentality of, I should take Chama Girl's music and go and play it in Stanton.
Yeah.
For who? You
Yeah.
know, and then she gets opportunities. I guess it's not a new thing, this type of mentality.
Yeah,
from what I'm hearing.
No, it's not. But I mean, but we should really, as a nation, we should really, because Botswana are amazing.
That's what I'm saying.
If
If
we really kill for a small population, we are amazing. Look at what we have produced from the beauty queens
Mpule
to Mpule Kwalahobe in 1998. You look in sports, what they've been doing, not only in athletics, but in martial arts. I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, 1992, Mpoba Kwadi, who has coached some of the best top world champions in martial arts in Botswana. He became a world champion in Japan. And so nobody received him. There was no news, nothing. So we just picked him from the airport, and we didn't have much money. We just bought Cokes, and that was it. Nobody knows about him. And right now he's producing some of it. He's been consistent.
A coach now.
Yeah, he's a coach. He's been.
Where is he located?
In Gaborone, and he's using, I think, Jack's gym in our village. That's where his younger brother, who at that time when we were growing up was just watching us train martial arts. So I was training with Mpo at that time. I was a belt.
Is it Mpo who?
Mpo Bakwadi.
Mpo Bakwadi.
His younger brother is Offensive Bakwadi.
We need to pay attention.
His younger brother is Offensive Bakwadi. He's Offensive Bakwadi. He's right now, I would say, one of the most well-crafted champion, you know, from not only from how he competes, but also how he has built his body.
No, I am paying very high attention to this because it's also another way to diversify the events industry. These people could host these sporting events which are different from athletics and
Of course.
football. You know, boxing has become a thing now in internationally, where we have the Floyd Mayweathers, the Paul Logans, they are making money, and then now Casper Nyovest in South Africa is hosting these celebrity matches. I think we deserve something like that, and having connection with people who are in martial arts.
Yeah,
if it's taekwondo or whatever, we could.
Botswana has been dominating martial arts for a long time. Champions, so many, has been dominating in basket weaving, the best basket weavers in the whole world. We've been dominating in athletics. So, but with these things, the things that we pour money in things that are politically attractive, like football. Nothing against football, but and in ballroom dance also. We've been really doing quite well in ballroom dance, but we don't take care of it.
And I bet there are people who are very good at it and they're not being funded.
That many.
Or nobody is paying attention to
that
them.
many. Your Mutusi Sibiro, Edwin Terrejo, the best ballroom dancers in this country has ever produced. And Edwin went to Milwaukee in the States and he did quite well. He's still there. He's in Chicago now. So, but there are certain areas of the arts that we ignored. Yeah.
And then Dr. Kenneth Goma.
Dr. Kenneth Goma, the founder of Position Parties in Botswana, it was at the same time as I was doing the Rare Masires documentary.
Yes,
so I because when you are an artist, you are a historian, you look at everybody. It's like, what is the ruling party doing? What is the opposition? This man has a very strong vision. He wrote what we call pamphlet number 1. I think the people limited pamphlet number 1 to just Botswana National Front. But pamphlet number 1, what it is, it's really a document that says this is how we look at our authentic self as Botswana, and we develop, and you look at all these things that are idling. I remember one of the stories he told me. He's like, when he arrived, there was a certain Mosara gentleman who called him and said, Dumela re Hwaba Mung. He didn't say Kenneth. He said Hwaba Mung. This man knows me. And he said he was very ashamed because he didn't remember his name. So finally he said, let me just ask him. It's like, forgive me, say, what's your name? He said, Kemosarwa Hamusi. And it's like, no. I say your name, the name that your father gave. He said, no, Kemosarwa Hamusi. And Musinyi being the person that they grew up waking, the family waking under. And then he said, no, okay. So after some time he said, Taka, this man, and then he said, no, okay, what's your father's name? He said, Mosara Hamusinyi. It's like, this is not going anywhere. Okay, your grandfather, Mosara Hamusinyi. It's like, now this is bad. Now everybody, people are being owned. They are being subjects of a property.
So I work for
property,
so therefore
property of so and so. This is not the Botswana.
So this is now pamphlet number 1.
Yeah, this is the this is not the Botswana that we want. We want the Botswana where all of us. Because when you talk about rights, when you talk about the channel or rights, it is something that is born with you. You don't have to apply for your rights. Okay. You are born with them completely.
It's the first time I ever hear about this pamphlet number 1.
Oh yeah, it's a document that kick-started what they call the Botswana National Front. But when I was interviewing him, I said, how they're promoting Che Guevara, you should publish this again, not as a party document, but as a lifestyle, something that can speak to everyone, and it should be published.
Die off.
No, it can't die off. It should be. These are the things we should revisit. We should revisit. Right, no, because in there they were also talking about education with production, whereby when you are in primary school, you start. Remember Ghana even Mweng, where Dr. Kenneth, where they studied Dr. Kenneth Goma, your Rem Mohai and everybody. They were studying. They had their own farm in the school. They had their own farm. They made their own bricks. They made their brain. in Hamangwatu, in the central district. In the 50s and 60s and 70s, we had schools then that are better than our schools now.
Most probably.
Before independence, we had
Most probably.
and that way that was started by Khosi. It was started by the Khosi then, and then and with local community they built the roads that was then the uncle to our first president.
Okay.
Tsegedi Kham.
All right.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the last stage of our conversation, which is your work.
Yeah.
Your past work.
Yeah.
The #1 ladies detective. The reason why I'm not trying to
The documentary. Yeah.
I'm not trying to highlight your accomplishments. What I'm actually trying to do is to understand how you find yourself in a working environment where you are working with someone like Jill Scott.
Okay. Well, it started with my film that I did in '98, Hot Chili.
Yes.
And then what happened was when they were building the producers of #1 Ladies Detective, they were building the team, the local team. They were looking for somebody who can direct the behind the scene, a director who can also shoot. And so they were looking for somebody, and they were not finding the one they like, with an eye they liked. And so they invited some British filmmakers, South African filmmakers, and some few, I think one guy was from the States. And so as they were checking them out, somebody mentioned there's a local filmmaker called MOABI MOGOROSI, and they gave them a copy of my film Hot Chili. And so I was invited. At that time when I came, it was the Oscar-winning director Anthony Minghella, who did The English Patient. So and so when I came, he was looking at the film, but he loved the film. He loved two things that spoke to him more than anything: is the cinematography, how it was, and then the music. And it's like, because the music that I used, I worked with Maiza Matlaku, who plays Stinkani. Stinkani. He plays all traditional instruments.
This is
and he plays all traditional.
So an Oscar award-winning producer got to hear this sound.
It was the sound of Maiza Matlaku and the old men of Re Sekamatlapeng in Tlokweng, who played Sehaba, and all his Ditlhaka music. So it was that music that really spoke to him. And then also I had a bit of music of Me How to Super Robala. So all the combination of that music is like, no, I want to fuse a lot of this music in #1 Ladies Detective Agency.
So this is that proposal or yours? To fuse the music into #1
No. It's theirs. Looking
at Hot Chili.
At Hot Chili, my music. So I gave them my soundtrack for Hot Chili.
Wow.
And because then in that soundtrack I had that music Yasesara also. I had I have a lot of genres, local genres, because when I was in LA, I wanted to the music that somebody gave me. I said, no, this music can't work. So I'll have to go back home and do the score. I wanted the score, so I talked to my older brother Maiza Matlaku to come and be the one.
How do you score? Do you score looking at the visual and then create the sound, or the sound is created before?
Well, it depends. Different people do it differently. But the way we scored it, so I completed the movie and I shared the ideas that I had with the musician, the collective that I brought, and then from there they look at the visual and they say, and they said, okay, what is the spirit of the film. What is the spirit of the film?
No wonder.
A score is a character. It's not a song. It's not an album song to song.
Yes,
it's a
yes,
character.
yeah.
So they work on this. It's more about what you hear and what you don't hear. Even the silence is part of.
Yeah, they got Black Coffee to score the new Matrix movie.
Oh, okay.
Which was a great.
Yeah, that's good.
Great accomplishment for Africa.
Yes.
And I keep saying, I have a feeling that we're going to win that Grammy.
I mean, Black Coffee has already won that before. Exactly. So, but the thing is, and there's some films that have like South Africa has won a few Oscars.
Definitely.
And
what I usually the first thought that comes to my mind, as much as this
Lady Smith Magmambauso has won a number of Grammys. Yes.
You know what I usually do? Whenever I see someone like Trevor Noah hosting the Grammys, I always say to myself, this guy can be Australian.
But here, let me tell you about
Presley Chinarai.
Yeah.
Won an Oscar. He's the one on the river. He won an Oscar for Tsotsi.
Yeah.
In my mind, honestly, these people are Botswana.
But let me tell you about Botswana, who's been there that not many of us talked about. When Paul Simon, when he played his...
Who's this?
Paul Simon is one of the most highly decorated musician in the States. So he worked on an album called Graceland with a lot of African musicians. And they created something, a masterpiece. At that time, there was a Motswana there called Ray John Selolwane. Is Dipsy Selolwane's uncle. He's just a legend. He's played with everyone. He's played to the audience over 3 million. He plays the guitar. He's a master guitar player. He's played with Peter Gabriel, all the big. Anita Baker, all the big artists you can think of. This old man, he's just turned 77.
Is he alive?
Yeah, he's alive. I'm working on his album. So
I need to meet him.
Yeah, you'll meet him. So one day, Ray Phiri, who's amazing, when they were working on the second chapter of Graceland, they were playing. So the story was that. As Ray Phiri was playing, Ray Phiri was the lead guitarist. So Paul Simon will be here, Ray Phiri will be here, and the rest of the band will be at the back. And so Paul Simon the story is that Paul Simon kept looking at the back. And he said, okay, everybody stop. Okay, Ray, play. John, play. Ray, play. John, play. And says switch, and then John Selolwane became the lead guitarist. All authentic. If you look at Hugh Masekela's best songs, the ones in Setswana, John Selolwane.
Yeah, so
John Selolwane.
So from this whole conversation, we actually do have one. I just need to go and find
John Selolwane.
One last question: working with Don CHEDAL, how was that experience?
It was beautiful. I went to, and how it happened, I was one of the 8, my school in Chicago, they selected top 8 students. So I was leading the directors in my school. So I just did I won a competition in doing a commercial student commercial for Reebok. And so I was in that thing. So we selected 8 of us to go and spend a semester in Hollywood. So
what year? I always want
2000,
so that you don't think it's
2000. And so we spent a semester in Hollywood. We at CBS Studios, where they were making series like Malcolm in the Middle and stuff like that. So as we were working in there, so I was placed to go, and I was placed with Steven Spielberg to work on artificial intelligence, AI.
Wait. This is what I was saying. You keep mentioning names like they're just people. Go back a little bit.
No. Yeah, no, I'll explain. We're spending a semester in Hollywood, so we are placed. So I was in the directing group. There were others editors. There were others in this. This is students from Chicago. So remember also the Chicago, my school, Columbia College Chicago, it was at that time, I think, the biggest film school in the world. And a lot of cinematographers like Steven Spielberg's best cinematographer that he does all his films now is called Janusz Kaminski. So he's from my school. So we had that reputation. The school had that reputation. So when we went into Hollywood, so now we are placed, they were looking at projects that were going on right now. So I was in the directing department. So I was sent to say, I was placed in the Steven Spielberg was preparing to make the movie Artificial Intelligence, AI. And so I was assigned to go and work there as a production assistant. But then we had this workshop. And then this workshop, a producer's workshop, because I was young and somehow without knowing, I was dominating even the departments that I was not in. So like I dominate.
That's the thing about it. He will go and dominate and not know he's dominating.
I dominated in the editors forum. I remember I went to the editors forum, and this the head of editors forum in Hollywood invited me to introduce me to her husband. They are white South Africans, but they are working there. The husband is Emmy-winning producer in there. So he's a white man with a big mustache, but whenever he ticks the boxes, because the Americans, they tend to have all these boxes, he always ticks African American, and when they meet him, when they meet him, they said, "You are not African." He said, "Yes, I'm African American. I'm from South Africa. I'm living in America."
Isn't this the old man you're working with right now?
No, it's a different
one.
This
is a different one. I said it was the last question, but we're going to get to that.
So he gave me he said you must read Indaba My Children. Oh, what is it? By Credo Mutwa. Oh, what an epic. Credo Mutwa, he's South African. He was a healer. He passed away a few years ago. Unfortunately, I wanted to meet him when I was in South Africa doing my master's. So he's a healer. He wrote an epic book, the level of Lord of the Rings. That scale of Lord. It's called Indaba My Children. It's
a novel. This is.
It's not a novel, it's a masterpiece. Everything is poetry, it's science fiction, it's Afro-fusion, it's everything piled into one. It's just a masterpiece. It's a Bible of African mythology. He said, you must read this. So I went and I bought it, and I read it every year now. So it's just an incredible...
Hence you're so grounded.
Yeah. So these men, they introduced me to, and I met another South African producer. He looked like a rock star with long...
We shouldn't move too much from Don Cheadle.
Yeah. No, I'm going to Don Cheadle. He's with long hair. He's like, okay, so you're going to work on artificial intelligence. I said, yeah. It's like, why? It's like, no, I'm a director. I just I shot the movie Hot Chili, so I want to work with Steven Spielberg, blah, 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 blah. He said, I have a counter proposal. He said, I said, what? It's like, I think you should go and work on the movie called Manic.
Oh, that's how you think.
Yeah. He said, I want you to work on the movie Manic, not artificial intelligence. I said, why? But it's Steven Spielberg. He said, no, Manic is a low-budget movie. So when you go back to Botswana, I'm from South Africa. When you go to back in Botswana, you are not going to have the Spielberg millions. So you're going to learn now how to make expensive movies that probably the money you will never get.
So that's the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs. We look at this big picture and try to do the big thing.
Yeah.
But you do not have the budget.
You don't have the budget. And say if you go to Manic, they're working on this thing, and then he placed me there. And then I was supposed to be the second assistant director. But at that time, I did not know how to drive. I did not have a car. Everybody in LA drove. I was the only one walking. I was staying by Universal Studios. I was the only going to the shop. All this black boy kid listening to Lauryn Hill. I had only one CD, Lauryn Hill, his Education of Lauryn Hill. That's the only CD I have. That's the only, for months I was only playing that every single day. Wow. So now the film was shot about over 35 kilometers outside Hollywood. So, and when they went there, they went there without me. So I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I was staying, my roommates, one was an editor, one was an actor. So the actor really loved Don Cheadle. It's like, maybe I can drive you there as you promise me that you'll introduce me to Don Cheadle. And at that time I had not met him, and I didn't know him. And so I said, of course, I will introduce you to Don Cheadle.
Another element. You will get there.
and so he drove me. He drove me there, and when I got there, I told the producers, this young man wants to meet Don Cheadle because he's humble. So he met, I introduced him to him, he met him. And then when I got there, my position was already taken.
Now it means you have to...
So they said, no, there's nothing for you unless you become a PA. And so I became a PA. So when I said to them, to myself, I said, and it was by design, by the way, I said, if they do this to me, I'm going to work like they've never seen.
Yeah.
So I clean the space, the sets, everything. When people are eating, everything, I see a paper. I work so hard that people got angry at me to say, MOABI, you need to relax. But while I was doing that, I got the attention of a cinematographer and the costume designer. So both of them wanted me. So, but I gravitated towards the cinema. So I worked as a PA for one day. And then the following day I was promoted. They were shooting, the movie was shot digital cameras, not
the film.
not your Panavision cameras. So I had worked with those cameras at my film school, and so everything he tested, I got it. He said, okay.
So if who's in your phone or contact, who's the most famous person we can call on your phone right now?
I don't know what you mean famous.
In the States, I mean, like a connection to something, because clearly it's as if you've always been surrounded by these.
Well, probably it'd be Don Cheadle.
You have his number.
Yeah. So.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top. Thank you very much. This is the end of the episode. I don't think we need to say anything else. I have access to Don Cheadle.
But here's the thing. Before I talk to you, because I worked, because we were one of there were 3 blacks in that film that we worked when we were working in production. So when we were shooting Manic, I became also his. I was in the second assistant camera, but also I was his stand-in. So I remember one day we were working late, very late, and then somebody gave me a Red Bull. I had never drank the energy drinks, so Don Cheadle grabbed the can of Red Bull from my hand and threw it away. I say, never drink that shit. So I've never drank that shit. Because Don Cheadle said so.
And we have his number.
Yeah.
So expect him in one of the episodes.
And well, I don't. But they change. So and
they
then
changed numbers. Obviously.
Yeah, they changed numbers. Then what happened was then I went after that to work on Next Wave Films. The Next Wave Films is the companies. It actually produced that film, but after it wrapped, Manic. After it wrapped, we worked on. They recruited me to come and work at the company. So we're reading scripts, and it was Next Wave Films is the finishing. So it helps filmmakers to finish their projects. So if you shot a movie, you don't have money finishing funds, they will sponsor it. So, and that's where also the works of how Christopher Nolan, who made all this amazing film, right now his current movie coming is Oppenheimer. And so his first film, Following. So Next Wave Films, we funded the finishing. So he will call, and so because we are the ones they get sort of like not the gatekeepers, but sort of before we gave to the owner of Broderick, who was the owner of the company, to him. So Don Cheadle made his first film after many, his own under Next Wave Films also. So then we got to talk to filmmakers like Christopher Nolan when they were starting out.
I really hope I get to, you know, technology now, you can literally have an interview online on FaceTime and stuff like that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is The Top. Welcome to The Top. Proudly sponsored by Makati Law Firm. The venue is Sunflower Court. That's where we're shooting. Yeah, welcome to The Top.